forward in a violent sprint. Wide-eyed, the little girl scrambled to her feet, tripping on her dress and tumbling directly into the path of the oncoming stage. Paralyzed by fear, the young girl lay in the road, tears streaming from her eyes. A terrified cry escaped her as the out-of-control team drew closer. Closing her eyes, she squealed as she felt pressure and tasted dirt as she rolled over the ground. The clomping of hooves and screams of passengers passed as quickly as they had arrived. "It's all right. It's all right." A calming voice came through the darkness of her firmly closed eyelids. "You're going to be all right now." The girl was slow to open her eyes. She was shaken, but in the bright sunlight, a blurry figure came into focus. She had never seen a person with a dark face before, and her curiosity about the man erased the terror she had clung to so deeply moments earlier. He helped her stand, and she smiled at him with glee. "See? There you go. Everything's just fine," Johnson said, reassuring her. "Now let's see if we can't find where you're from." Brushing himself off, he looked around, then picked the girl up in his arms. Dust lingered in the air. The stage hadn't stopped on its rampage and disappeared down the road over the crest of the next hill. With the girl in his arms, Johnson stared after its trail. For a moment he pondered the fate of the passengers, then returned his attention to the girl. "Which way?" he asked. The girl stretched out a hand to point out the direction from which she had traveled. He glanced quickly to the east where the stagecoach had appeared, recalling the yells of the passengers and the cloud of dust as it tore through. As he stared, he wondered how he always managed to end up in such tangling circumstances. All he wanted was to get to the next town without any trouble. What would he do if he couldn't find any family looking for the girl nearby? Holding the girl firmly in his arms, he stepped a worn boot across the deep rut of the road and began to climb the hill on the other side. Johnson had heard that the West was vast and wild, the frontier of American civilization, a place where any man could find freedom. Freedom to get good work, freedom from the status quo, freedom from your past, maybe even from the color of your skin. Runaway stagecoaches and saving little girls wasn't what he had in mind. He just wanted the chance to be his own man. "You'll find your freedom," he thought to himself. "One thing at a time. Gotta get this little girl safe."
"Nigger, you get your hands off of her!"
A woman appeared at the top of the hill. Hard-eyed and slinging a shotgun, she was unmistakably the girl's mother. In his surprise, Johnson was barely able to catch his balance to avoid tumbling back down the slope. The little girl exploded in tears as she cried out for her mother.
"You let her go!"
"Hold up now. She's just a little shook."
"Now!"
the woman yelled, pulling back the hammer on the shotgun. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no need for trouble," Johnson yelled as he set the girl on her feet. Running to her mother, the girl gripped one of her legs so tight it looked as if she'd never let go.
"You best get from here and leave my family alone,"
she said, tears in her eyes, shaking the shotgun. "Look, I was just trying to help her out," Johnson explained, hands raised.
"Maybe you was, maybe you wasn't. Don't matter now. You go on and get before I change my mind and decide to take you into town and let the marshal decide."
"All right, I'm leaving," Johnson said, hands still raised. Mindful of how he moved, he backstepped, then quickly turned and headed down the road. "That's exactly the kind of trouble you need no part of," he thought to himself. "Problems off your hands now." Reaching the bottom of the hill, Johnson picked up his pack from the spot he had dropped it before running to save the girl. "I know she's worried about her child, but damn, maybe I can't find freedom from everything." St. Andrews, Indiana, March 1876, 1 month earlier. Frederick Boyd's formidable figure stood in contemplation, silhouetted in the center of a large arched window overlooking the river. From his vantage point, the man could view the riverboat empire he had created. Family meant everything to him. Family was everything he had. He made sure those in his family were brought into the business and placed in positions of power. They were trained to understand the inner workings of every aspect of the business. No one could be trusted like family, and he could not bear the thought that when he was gone, his cutthroat competitors might slither their way into his business, his family. Not that he had his qualms about merciless ambition, but he would do everything in his power to protect what he had built. He had worked too hard, too long, and he would not abide no threats. A threat to family was a threat to business, no matter how large or insignificant. He would protect his family, and when he could not, he would ensure justice was carried out for his family.